How many of us actually said thank you for the gift this morning? My brothers and sisters, time is such a wonderful gift because it is through time that we are able to discover and learn about who God is. Time is a blessing because it is the platform the Lord has set us on top of to aid us in knowing Him. But woe to the person who mismanages his or her time. That is the thought which brought me to this particular introduction to this word today. I was listening and watching the news over the last week or so, and I saw and heard a story about Aaron Hernandez, the now 23-year-old former tight end of the New England Patriots. After signing a $40 million deal, reportedly, a 5-year contract for $40 million with the Patriots, which equals out to be $8 million a year, Hernandez now sits in a county jail cell waiting for his trial to begin, in which his lawyers will be defending him against murder charges. Y'all, at 23 years old, all he had was time. But because of an undisciplined lifestyle, he mismanaged his time. It was the wrong time for him to have done something as sinister as he is accused of doing. And not that there would ever be a right time, y'all, to commit murder or to be complicit in murder. But I just wanted to bring to your attention that timing is everything. Just because you have a significant amount of time on your hands doesn't mean you can do what you want to do anytime you want to do it. Am I right about it? Timing is everything, because not only can you do the wrong thing at the wrong time, but you can also do the right thing at the wrong time. Timing is everything because it can be a prelude to success or to failure. I mean, deadlines can be missed, opportunities can be forfeited, and benefits can be canceled when the timing is off. That is why in the economy of God, timing is everything, because God's purpose, God's assistance, and God's blessings are most times connected to a particular moment, to a particular day, for a particular time, or for a particular season. The proper timing in doing God's will is always accompanied by the benefits and the blessings that are handed out by God. In other words, if you do things according to God's timing, there is a blessing and a benefit to come behind it. That is why I believe we are told in the Word of God to work while it is day, because when nighttime comes, no one can work, because timing is everything. That is why we are told to redeem the time in light of the days being evil. We are instructed to make the most, to grab and claim the time that we are given, because we don't know how much of it we've got left. Because timing is everything. The children of Israel missed the promised land on the first time around because timing is everything. And if you remember the story, They didn't go when God wanted them to go, but later they changed their minds and decided to go against Moses' direction. And y'all, they ended up being defeated because God was not with them, because timing is everything. Remember, y'all, timing can be a prelude to success or to failure. Noah, he was able to complete the construction of the ark because timing is everything. If he would have been late, then he and his family would have been flooded out with the rest of creation. But he built the ark in time because timing is everything. Abraham was able to substitute his son Isaac as a sacrifice to God because timing is everything. Think about it. While Abraham and his son was going up one side of the mountain, God had a ram going up the other side of the mountain. And if Abraham would have been postponed, then the ram would have been up on the hill while they were still going up. And when Abraham and Isaac got up, the ram would have been on the way down. But he went at the right time because timing is everything. I mean, Hezekiah, he was given a prophetic prognosis of terminal illness, but immediately, when he got the prognosis, immediately, he didn't call his prayer warriors, immediately, he didn't get on the phone and call his pastor, but immediately he turned his face to the wall and he didn't complain about it, he prayed about it because timing is everything. And before the prophet Isaiah could get out of the palace, God spoke to Isaiah and said, go tell Hezekiah that I heard his prayer and I'm going to bless him with 15 more years. Job understood the importance of timing. After he had lost everything that mattered to him, I heard Job say, God knows the way that I take, and when he has tested me, when he has tested me, I shall come forth as pure gold. Even Joshua understood the importance of timing. I mean, that is why he followed God's orders when they marched around Jericho to march around one time for 6 days, one time on each day for 6 days, but then on the 7th day, march around 7 times and then shout. And timing is everything, y'all. I wish you could read the story because they didn't shout on the 3rd time around. They didn't shout on the 4th time around. They didn't shout on the 5th or the 6th time around, because I'm persuaded if they would have shouted too early, the wall would have stayed in place. But they shouted on the 7th time around, on the 7th day, because timing is everything. And the Lord rewarded that timing, and the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. Church, I need you to feel me when I say this. Whenever God wills something or does anything, timing is essential. Even when you are waiting on the Lord, don't think it's a mismanagement of time, because I heard the prophet say that they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Do I have at least 2 or 3 folk in here who believe me when I say timing is everything? Come on, anybody ever mess some stuff up because your timing was off? You ended up being involved with somebody who God didn't want you to be involved with because your timing was off. You ended up being in a place you had no business being in because your timing was off. I mean, have you ever failed to meet any deadlines? I mean, have you ever missed any opportunities or forfeited any benefits because your timing was off? Come on, somebody tell your neighbor, pay attention to your timing, because the proper timing in doing God's will and being obedient to God is always accompanied by the since the Jews were released from their Babylonian captivity, which would now have been a little bit around 90 years, give or take a few years. When King Nebuchadnezzar showed up in 586 BC, he captured Jerusalem and took most of its inhabitants, its residents, into exile. He took Daniel, he took Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He took Ezekiel the prophet. He took Zedekiah the king. And he took all these people back to Babylon, where they stayed a total of 70 years, exactly the time that Jeremiah had told them they would be there. When Nebuchadnezzar came, he burned down the king's palace, the temple, and the walls around Jerusalem, all things that gave political and religious significance to the Jews. He destroyed it. And needless to say, by the time that Nehemiah shows up to lead in the rebuilding of the wall, the people's spirits needed to be rebuilt as well. You see, a broken down wall resulted in broken down people because it left them without independence, and it left them without identity, and without the wall that separated them from the heathens. And for those who did not follow God, they kind of mished and mingled in with those people. They were vulnerable, y'all, to economic, racial, and social oppression that their antagonistic neighbors would put upon them. There was nothing that identified them or made them a unique and peculiar people of God. As a matter of fact, many people believe right about this time that they even stopped going to church. They stopped going to the temple. They were not going to church on a regular basis. There was nothing that identified them or made them that unique and peculiar people that God wanted them to be, except what was lying dormant inside of them. That is why you cannot afford to give up any of the things that identify you as a child of God. Did you hear what I said? You can't give up the things that identify you as a child of God. You can't give up praying, because praying identifies you as a child of God. Even if you're in a restaurant, you're around a whole lot of folks who's looking at you and looking cockeyed at you, and come on, and you don't want to pray in front of other people. You better go on and pray anyway. Don't you give up any of the things that identify you as a child of God. I mean, even, come on now, even if it's just a cross around your neck, don't you give it up. Come on, because that's part of you identifying with you being a child of God. And even coming to church on a regular basis, don't you give it up. Don't you give that up for anybody, because that identifies you as a child of God. Y'all, thank God for Nehemiah, who left his plush position as the king's cupbearer to return to his country and to his people, to help them pick up and build up, the broken pieces of their lives, to revive them and to revive within them a vision and a will to return, to get back to who the Lord had created them to be. And I don't know who all needed to hear this, but the Lord told me to drop this in your spirit